Hey, it's Arrow, and this is Vocal Defrag. Vocal defragging is asking yourself the questions and questioning the answers. I do this on a transition walk through this beautiful forest in South Charlotte, North Carolina. We all go through many transitions, mood swings, mindsets, adventures, not so fun adventures, challenges, changes. But we're not asking the questions and then questioning the answers. We're just letting life happen. I mean, you can see it in the headlines every day. People just letting life happen. And when something doesn't agree with you, then we tend to lash out or we run away from. Vocal defragging doesn't have to be serious. You can just have a regular one-on-one with you. That image in the mirror. That self that's always asking questions and relying on other people to give them the answer. Yeah, have you ever heard that term or seen that thing happen? Where when people want something from you so they can gain in their own personal life, they can make more money, they can come across as being a much more wiser person. Happens all the time. So what are you taking from yourself that you should be replenishing? This is Vocal Defragging. My subject today is the fact that I have no subject. No, really. I was defragging before I came out here, and I asked the question, what are you going to talk about today? And I said, I don't know. I've done so many things this morning and been so many different types of people and personalities that I feel like that I'm dry. I'm empty. I don't know what is going on, except that I'm in a transition period. So how do you ask the questions and question the answers if you're in a dry period? You ask that question. What's made you dry? Why are you empty in the soul in a place where it's a beautiful day in this forest? The temperature is perfect. It's fall. The leaves are falling from the trees. It looks like the final dance is just a beautiful waterfall of color. So what would make you empty? What would make you unrelatable to the self that you are? And I think sometimes it's because we do take from ourselves way too much without replenishing what we just took. Or we're sitting there very impatiently waiting for the change to happen. And if that change doesn't bring you exactly what you envisioned on paper or inside your imagination, then we become disappointed in the selves that we are. Getting around this means being truthful with the multiple personalities that you carry. You can't tell me that you are the same person every day. I do not believe in that theory at all. I believe that we change by the minute. A red light. Dinner is late. Your kids just said something that has upset you so badly. But we don't talk about it. What we do is we step in it or we step around it. But we don't deal with the situation of trying to understand what the trigger point was. My father was a very grumpy man. We've talked about that many times on Vocal Defrag. And in the process of trying to understand him now, the goal is to find ourselves in a situation of not being who we once lived with or grew up with. Why he was a grumpy man? That's his story. I only have the assumption. So therefore, I'm not going to invest in such a movement because I'm only assuming. The same is true about my sister. She was always in a mindset of accusing people of attacking her. Why was she that way? Not my position to come up with an answer. Your day should be treated like that of a birthday. In other words, you should walk into each day as a gift, something that has been given to you in the way of how am I going to turn this into a day of opportunity. Those moments where you go, man, I just don't feel like it. That's the best time to do it, when you don't feel like it, because that means your guard is down. You're not going to be Mr. or Mrs. Perfectionist, and you're not going to be the procrastinator that's setting things aside all the time. So when you have a situation where you go, I don't hold the answer. I'm waiting for the universe or someone to give it to me. Well, you're going to be waiting a long time because ultimately you're the one that has got to decide for yourself that this is the position you're going to be in. And if I sit here and I say, I have nothing to say, and I stick to that for the rest of the day, then I think that I've wasted this birthday. I think I've wasted this gift that's been handed to me, when we all know for a fact that we all bring something to the entire celebration of life. I think one of our biggest weaknesses is the fact that we think that when we do write something down or we say something on social media or we do something in a vocal defrag, we think that it has to be moving. No, you need to let that one go, because you're not going to be given a number one song every time that you feel like that creativity has taken over your heart. You know, it was Randy Bachman of Bachman Turner Overdrive that once said to me, you know me for my hits, but you don't know me for my strikeouts. How about those moments in your own personal life? Have you ever gone back to recognize or even just to listen to those moments where you decided that you failed, when in fact it could have been just a step of growing forward? I was talking with someone yesterday about those moments where you take chances. How do you believe in an opportunity if you don't really take a chance? He was a comedian, and he said that, in order for him to do what he's known for today, which is writing parody songs, he had to make a lot of mistakes in front of a lot of people in comedy clubs that looked at him and gave him strange faces and reactions. But because he stayed true to what he felt was his calling of creating these parody songs, now he's able to have his own album, his own specials on Comedy Central. He's really growing with himself because he looked at what he was doing and he began to listen to what he was doing because he got to know who he was as a person. So I ask you that question. Who are you? Why do you think you are? How can you improve what you think you are if you don't ask the questions? There are so many things going on in our minds at all times that I don't get how we can sleep. I don't get how we can get rest. Most of us are taking melatonin, and the medical world is saying, dude, that's way too much. You don't need to do that. Find another way to get some rest. Meditation is a great way to get some rest. Writing is a place of rest. But if you go there to write something and something isn't coming out, what happens then? Most people just close the journal, shut off their little notes on their smartphone, and they say, I'm not feeling it today, which in reality is when you should be writing, when you don't feel it. Because then you start asking yourself questions, and you've always got a subject. How about this helicopter that's flying over me right now in this forest in South Charlotte, North Carolina? I always sit there and wonder, what are they looking for? Are they looking for a mass murderer? Did they find some pot fields somewhere? They think something's going on inside this forest? Ooh, the mystery is on. See, if you allow yourself to give yourself permission to just be playful, when things aren't going right, turn it into a joke. Laugh about it. As they tell us in radio, laugh at yourself. Ask the questions, question the answers. I call it vocal defragging. I keep a written journal because I want to go back and study the word as well as the way that the words were written, because that really, if you're a daily writer, you'll be able to understand your mindsets and mood swings just by the curves of your words. And then the vocal defrag, it helps us with the pitch, volume, and tone of our expressions. We can go back and listen to it and see how committed we were to the situation or how disconnected we were to the moment of what is now. I'm Errol, and that's Vocal Defrag.